What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MakeTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we've got The Handmaid's Tale, Season 6, Episode 6 is a recap. It has audio description on Hulu, and I don't know, I haven't really had a moment in the show where I've just been like, oh my god, the audio description, for anything other than that, uh, the scene where Serena was dancing in the light. I thought that was really sort of like beautifully captured. So to jump to the end, this is a recap. Recaps inherently have spoilers. So if we jump to the end, I would say the scene that I really liked the most is also the huge spoiler of, if you want me to like work front to back, then you'd have to wait to find that out. But it's the scene with June and Nick in the closet, and how her sort of realizing everything. There's like a recollection where she's just sort of like, almost like she's slipping into a void. Like when she realizes what's happening, everything just kind of slips away, and she's just like, oh no, what have I done? You know, like all that kind of stuff. And it's not really her fault. It's Nick's fault, but the episode really focuses a lot on Nick, and I think he's in sort of like a mental health crisis, because we see him struggling with what he's just done. We see some flashbacks to the fact that Nick ended up killing that other soldier who could have recognized him, who survived a headshot anyway, and then woke up and said something about the dog. I guess Nick just couldn't trust the fact that that kid had had his brain wiped and was back to being worried about where his dog was. Um, so he had to get rid of the kid. So yeah, he's dealing with a lot, and his father-in-law is supposed to be out of town. Turns out he's not. And Nick is, happy to see June, but at the same time, June has him go and pick up. They do make it out. I know I'm focusing a lot on Nick, but he's happy to see June, and he has to do a task for June, but he also asks her to stay the night, which she does. And I think she picks up on what it is that he needs in the moment and kind of gives that to him. We also see flashbacks to sort of when they were together before. But the problem is that she ends up she can't actually stay with Nick, because when they get home, it turns out that the father-in-law is not actually in DC. He's there to see Nick. So she has to slip out and go hang out with Serena, but Nick has this conversation with his father-in-law, and we don't know how that goes until until it's revealed what Nick actually told his father-in-law to try to get himself out of the doghouse. And I know Nick wants June to choose him, and I get that. I get the fact that he doesn't really love his wife. He loves June. He had a unique experience where June didn't know whether or not Luke was alive or dead, where Hannah was, or anything, and all June had was Nick. And he's trying to recreate that, and he's trying to bring that back and have, like, why doesn't he get to have a happy ending? Why is it that he has to live through all this shit and constantly do favors for June and be at her behest, but he gets none of the reward? Why can't he have that too? And he's begging her to run away with him, but I think he knows. He's gotta know she's never gonna leave until Hannah is out of Gilead. Like, that's never gonna happen. She's gonna keep trying until she either dies or Hannah gets out of Gilead. So when he comes in and is like, go away with me to Paris, I was concerned for him, because I had just seen him talk to the father-in-law, and I was like, what happened? What did he just hear? What did he just learn? And the sad thing is that they had set it up, And, Joseph is thinking that because he's helped them out and that he got them out of there. And June and Moira end up telling him, well, June tells him the plan, which is that Mayday is there to attack and kill off all of the commanders that were in there if they would just let them do that, which are all the people who want to kill Joseph. So he's like thinking he might have a shot at staying alive. Unfortunately, the whole plan is thwarted because Nick gives it away. So like there's always a consequence to another consequence in the show. And when we're this close to the end, anyone could die. And it's kind of amazing that we made it through another episode where no one does. Of any, I mean, yes, some random guard died last episode and a kid and people we don't know. But I mean, of the cast we've been following this whole time, they're all still here. Yeah, Nick clearly, I thought he was a standout. Max Minghella did a really wonderful job. I thought Bradley Whitford did a nice job with the couple of scenes where he's very honest about, like, he knows he fucked up. He's like, I created this world and I trapped Eleanor in it. And he knows. He blames Jean for not stopping her from killing herself. But at the same time, he knows he's the reason why she did. So, and he has to live with that. And it's weird to see a commander with such admiration for his wife, for the woman, because they're not, she's not an object to him. Obviously, they had a relationship before there ever was Gilead, and his wife just resents him deeply for being sort of the founder and structure of Gilead, and that's why she killed herself. And now he has a wife that is more of like for strategic purposes than he cares anything that I don't think he would save her from anything, at this point, if it didn't behoove him to do so. So he is trying to keep track of the daughter, though, and Angela, and try to make her, give her the best life. And there's a scene where he's playing chess with her, and Mommy gets upset because she's on her art lesson. And I'm like, what art lesson? She's a kid. You have a fucking coloring book. What lesson? Anyway. Yeah. So, a lot happened. Moira gets out, presumably because Lawrence drove her out, and then June went over to Nick. So June ends up at Serena's, which is surprising to Serena, but Nick's like, yeah, go to Serena. She lives over there. And she was like, what? It's just like blown away by all this information. And so June just walks up, and Serena just sees June, and they have this conversation. And it's a lot that they keep stopping because they don't want to have it out. Like, they don't want to have that full knockdown, drag out fight, which they clearly want to have, because Serena feels like she's done enough and that June should forgive her. And June even admits, like, you think I don't want to forgive you, but I can't. I can't do it. I get it. I get what you're trying to do, but I can't forgive you. So, I think Serena is rebuffed and just doesn't understand how it's possible. But part of it is that Serena still believes in Gilead, still believes in, and especially with New Bethlehem, believes that and June strikes back at her and says, just because women can read doesn't mean it's not Gilead. It's still Gilead. So, one of the nice things that happens for June is that she gets to see Rita again, who is living in the community, and talk to her for a little bit. And then, Serena's new fiance swings by. He's in town. Because he sent Rose to Washington, D.C. by herself to announce the good news. He shut down Jezebel's because of a plan. And who's in the closet? June. And who's she with? Nick. And they're hiding in one of Serena's closets, and she's trapped in there with Nick, and she realizes that Nick betrayed her and that's where we end. And it's just hard. It's like a gut punch, but it's not her fault. It's Nick's. Like, Nick didn't need to. Nick could have said anything in that moment. He didn't need to actually give up real plans. You know, he could have said anything and been like, "Well, I went to, uh, you know, I when I saw the kid, he woke up and he gave me a name, and it didn't make any sense, and I went to Jezebel's, and uh, I was looking for a clue in this thing, and just, I don't know, make something up, man." And he's like, "Yeah, I can't," but I don't know. He just trusts his father-in-law too much, and it's like, well, great. So now I don't know what's gonna happen with anything moving forward. June is still trapped behind enemy lines because she's now trapped in Gilead, and Nick probably doesn't want to let her go. But she has to figure out a way, A, out of the closet, B, away from Nick, and C, across the border, which obviously Nick is not going to be inclined to help her do. She can't really go back to Joseph and say, "Hey, remember that plan? Nick just torpedoed that, so you're probably going to be on the wall pretty soon. You want to come to Canada with me?" I mean, she might do that, and she could grab Angela, and they shut down Jezebel, so now we don't know where Janine is. And Janine had another scene with Aunt Lydia, which was pretty good, and a great moment where she gets to trash like the entire dressing room. I'm sure the other girls were like, "Why did you fuck our shit up?" But doesn't matter anymore because Jezebel's got shut down. Or did it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought about that too. I was like, you're telling me Commander Bell is just going to be like, that you're right. I don't need sex anymore. Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Self-Righteous. Does he really have that much power to shut all of the other commanders down? Or is there another Jezebel's that we just don't know about? And then they're just going to move all the girls to Jezebel's Part 2. Like, welcome to the new location. We've moved it. And now security is even tighter than before. So nobody will ever know about this Jezebel's. I don't know. But I just find it really hard because these men obviously don't want to give up the things that they want in life. And they want Jezebel's, obviously, specifically. And one commander not wanting it is not going to defeat the multitude of commanders that do. So I've had that thought too, that there's just like another Jezebel's out there. I mean, because they have all of the U.S. basically to do it, the remaining part of the U.S. So who knows? We'll find out in the next episode. If I was June, I would go back to Joseph and I would tell him that. And I would tell him to get his daughter and we'll drive him across. And at bare minimum, Lawrence could work a deal that would give him immunity by also being able to tell anyone else literally everything about Gilead. I mean, if there's anybody who understands Gilead and the way that it works, it's going to be him. So he just is so worried about, but what else does he have other than himself and Angela? And if he just makes sure Angela gets out and is safe, and he has some sort of a deal, a partnership, so maybe he escapes, and maybe Nick is trapped with I don't think Nick gets the happy ending anymore. I don't think he gets to give up that information and then survive the series. He's definitely not going to get June in any sort of way that he would have hoped. So I think Nick is going to end up being suffering because he made that choice. So we'll see what happens in the next episode. But I thought it was an interesting episode, and June realizes she can't use Nick anymore. She can't trust Nick, and she's been betrayed in a huge way, and she's going to have to reckon with that in the next episode. I thought this episode was great, and I'm going to give Handmaid's Tale once again an A. I don't need people to die every episode. I don't need things to blow up. I like just the conversations and how it feels very much like what Joseph was doing, moving chess pieces around a board, and that the casts are just these chess pieces, and everybody's a different level, and you're trying to protect the queen because she's powerful, and the queen is June, obviously. She's moving all the hell the way around the board. She's jumping around, knocking out all the pawns, trying to knock out the knights and the rooks and bishops and stuff on the other side. Kind of makes you wonder who the king is. Is the king Hannah? Maybe the king's Hannah, because you're always trying to protect the king, and the king is not really like an attack hero. I think maybe in this situation, Joseph sees himself as the king that needs to be protected, and is letting June do all the work. I don't know. It's an interesting thing, but I think the chess juxtaposition is accurate. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.